G'day legends, but also a very sincere Assalamu alaikum. Alright, I'm being honest, okay? Me and the Muslim fan base have had good fun going at each other in the past. You guys beat up my boy Alexander Volkanovski. I was picking Dustin Poirier. Robert Whittaker got an amazing win. We've had a bloody good time, boys. But this weekend, I'm being deadly serious when I say this. There are spiritual forces at work, and when the gods are battling, anything can happen. It's like when Conor McGregor walks into a nightclub, you don't know what to expect. And Alex Pereira is preparing to fight Jiri Prochazka, and he is using the powers of the occult. Shamanism. We can all feel it in the air. Shamanistic magical gods versus the power of the Tao in Jiri Prochazka.
Yes, everybody knows that, and he's doing these rituals before the fight. Everybody can feel that, what's around him and what's going on. So
I love that clip so much, like how Jiri is just like, we can all feel them. We all know what he is doing in the room. We can all feel the gods in the room when he walks into the room. I swear to God, Jiri is on the spectrum. Anyway. So, since UFC 303 might be the most otherworldly event we have ever had, I am calling on the Muslim brethren out there. You have a massive fan base in MMA, and I am calling on all of you to join your forces with the shamanistic gods of Alex Pereira, because he is going to need the power of prayer to win this fight. I do believe that Jiri Prochazka will be winning UFC 303 because of the time that he has taken off in the forest to mentally prepare his mind, obviously, but also his body as well. Jiri Prochazka has known that there is going to be a fight with Alex Pereira coming up, and he has taken it extremely seriously. He believed the fight would be happening later in the year. The timeline has now been pushed up, but he has still been locked in for this fight. Alex Pereira, on the other hand, is coming off a lot of activity in the UFC. He's coming into this fight injured. He's coming into this fight on short notice. He has been around the world traveling, giving the Aussies high fives, giving everyone around the world high fives, walking into gyms with just lines and lines of belts behind him, and good on him. He deserved to have a bit of a rest before his next fight camp to go ahead and fight Jiri Prochazka, but he didn't get that proper fight camp in. He was in the middle of his rest period, and now he has to jump straight back in. So I do believe that this fight is going to go into deep waters. And when we are getting into those deep waters, when Jiri Prochazka is using just the most phenomenal defensive movement you've ever seen. Every single punch is landing on his head as Jiri does everything that he can to make sure that he's catching every single fist to really wear out the fists of Alex Pereira. I do believe when we get to that stage of the fight, the lack of training coming into this is going to affect Alex Pereira. He is going to start to fade, and Jiri Prochazka is going to get the win over him. We're going to see Jiri Prochazka TKO Alex Pereira somewhere in the 4th or the 5th round, and if that happens, Magomed Ankalaevs, the reason I am shouting this video out to our Muslim brethren is because if that happens, Magomed Ankalaevs is in a horrible position. If Jiri wins an exciting fight that's pushed into the 4th or the 5th round, we can almost guarantee that there is going to be a trilogy fight. And in the world of MMA, nothing is certain. During that time of a trilogy fight getting set up and played out, Alexander Rakic could go fight Jamahal Hill, right? Rakic could win that fight, and then a rematch of the classic UFC 300 prelim main event, you know what I'm saying? Jiri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic. A rematch of that fight is guaranteed pay-per-views. They will pick Rakic over Magomed Ankalaevs. Or Rakic could get some devastating knockout, or Jamahal Hill could win that fight against Rakic and Pereira could win, and then you could have a classic rematch of the main event of UFC 300, where Jamahal Hill has done this awesome salty press tour and getting the fans riled up. The point is that everything going on at the top of light heavyweight right now has personality and has these team players that have stepped up for the UFC on short notice. Jamahal Hill stepped up just as much as Alex did to save UFC 300. Alex Pereira stepped up countless times for the UFC now. And if we learnt anything from UFC Fight Inc. on Roku, it's that the UFC likes team players. And unfortunately, Magomed Ankalaevs, for some reason, has not been a team player. He said he didn't want the title shot in Brazil. He's turned down a couple of short notice title shots against Poatan Pereira. He has been adamant that he wants that fight in Abu Dhabi. Now, Magomed, number one, you're a goddamn contender, all right, mate? And as a contender, that means you fight when you're told, where you're told. That's just the name of the game. But to turn down these short notice things, when the UFC, oh God, I got bad morning here today. But to turn down these short notice things when the UFC really, really needs you means that you get put to the back of the UFC's mind and you don't get put to the front of the list until they have no other options, okay? That is, I'm not saying that's fair. I'm not saying I agree with it. I am just pointing out the landscape of the company in which you are competing in. And by not being a company man, the company is not going to be a man back to you. So, having said all of that, the Muslim brethren out there need to be praying that Alex Pereira gets the win over Jiri Prochazka, which I don't believe he can do, which is why he needs the power of prayer. Because right now, at the moment in light heavyweight, this is the perfect time for Magomed Ankalaevs to get his shot while everyone is still sort of sorting their stuff out. Rakic has just got a loss. Hill has just got a loss. If Poatan beats Pereira again, if Poatan beats Jiri Prochazka again, it's going to be very hard to say that Jiri Prochazka deserves a third shot. Obviously, he doesn't. It's the perfect time right now for Magomed Ankalaevs to get his title shot. But that is not going to happen if Jiri Prochazka does win this fight. So it's time for everyone to look to the, I'm not sure what direction you guys look in, but today when you have your daily prayers, keep one in your heart for Alex Poatan Pereira. Keep one in your heart for Alex Poatan Pereira to get a clean first or second round knockout against Jiri Prochazka so he doesn't take on any more damage and Alex Pereira can have a nice long 30-day break before his next training camp. I know. To some of the guys that support Muslim fighters, you hear a 30-day break, you're like, that's not very long. You're only meant to fight once a year. A little dig, just a bit of a joke. Calm down, boys. You can actually fight 3 or 4 times a year when you really push yourselves. And for Alex Pereira, 30 days is like, you know, a lifetime away from combat sports. That man needs to fight. Otherwise, he can see Israel Adesanya getting a little bit too uppity. So, join forces, join the shamanic gods, put your powers with the shamanistic powers of Alex Pereira, and make sure that he gets a nice, clean win, and then that way it can be Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaevs in Abu Dhabi, or if that is too soon for Alex Pereira, Magomed, take a fight in the United States. I don't know if it's a visa issue or if you were just that thick, mate. Take a fight in the United States. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaevs as the co-main event, the people's main event at Madison Square Garden. Alex Pereira has headlined it before underneath John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Oh, what a card. I'm absolutely cooked with that one. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like down there and put it down there in the comments. Who do you think is going to be winning this weekend's event at UFC 303? Will it be Jiri Prochazka or will it be Alex Pereira? All right, put it down there in the comments. Until then, it is Friday, so I will see you guys live for the fights. You all have yourselves a bloody good weekend, and I'll see you all in the next video.